make a short video about it. So the story is Chevy Corvette electric sedan coming 2025. Corvette SUV to follow. Um, it says the current Corvette C8 won't go fully electric. Well, that's not a big surprise considering the fact that that car was planned out, that car was built and produced, years ago, and they've had that car on the road since I think at least 2019, if I'm not mistaken. So the thing about it is, it's like this is the next logical evolution of the Corvette. So I know a lot of people automatically they're going to be mad. Oh, this is terrible. The Corvette nameplate shouldn't be going on anything else except a small car that's only got two seats and it has a manual and it doesn't sell in very high numbers and you can't fit a family in it and it's impractical and you really can't go grocery shopping in it and so forth and so on. But I'm pretty sure that GM, after paying attention to what Mustang did with the Mach-E over at Ford, I'm pretty sure, the enthusiasts be damned. They don't see. I don't think y'all understand, and it's really funny because I love explaining this. These car manufacturers are looking for sales. Oh, I'd never buy that. They won't get my money. Yeah, well, guess what? They'll get somebody else's. If they don't get yours, they'll get somebody else's. The reality of the situation is the Corvette is a small, impractical little Sunday morning toy that you can't use it during the week. So chances are you got to have a second car because you're going to use the second car as a daily driver. And this Corvette is only coming out on the weekend, coming out on a Saturday or a Sunday, depending upon which day it rains, right? That's the reality. Now, a Mustang is a daily driver. A Challenger is a daily driver. Corvette, over there, GM, obviously, they want to start producing stuff where they can sell these things and they can make huge numbers out of selling these things. It's obvious. Now, you could say, oh, yeah, well, you're not going to buy it because you're an auto purist. Well, guess what? You'll be an auto purist with a very old car that is falling apart. You'll have a lot of hard trouble getting parts for it. And eventually you'll end up giving up and you'll be forced into something new. Most of these dudes who keep around these really old classic cars that are actually worth keeping, that are made of metal and leather, those dudes keep those cars in garages and some of them drive them, but very few of them. Very few. Every now and then around here, you'll see some classic cars. I'm sure in Pennsylvania, you'll see more of them. But most of these dudes, they keep those cars garaged, and they don't drive those cars. When you compare those cars to the other cars on the road, first of all, those cars, those older classic cars, yeah, those things are made way better. Those things tend to stay in better shape. I think they're probably easier to repair because they had metal bodies for the most part. But the reality is, it's like going forward, a lot of the stuff that we've had all this time, that stuff is dead. These V8 engines, between this Russia-Ukraine sanction, gas prices skyrocketing situation, not to mention America being the racist country that it is, making enemies out of all of the oil-producing nations, specifically the ones that are nearest to us, such as Venezuela, in exchange for we go to Canada and get oil from them, and then we go to the Saudis and give them protection. We could have been using Venezuelan oil. We could have had it. I've said this before. If I was president, oil would be $1 fucking premium. It would be $1. I don't give a fuck what the Venezuelan government says or does to their citizens. Our sanctions on Venezuela hurt them more than what they do to their own people. In fact, our sanctions set up a situation where things are worse for these people. Do y'all even understand, and I hate to get off topic, but do y'all even understand that Europe is about to freeze its asses off because we put a bunch of sanctions on Russia that aren't working, and Russia's ruble has actually exceeded the point where it was prior to them invading Ukraine? Do you think the Russians give a fuck that we took away a couple of McDonald's and some Starbucks and all of this cancer-causing, diabetes-causing shit that they didn't need in the first place? Those people are used to roughing it. Those people are used to suffering. They don't give a goddamn about losing a couple of dollars. They're oil rich. All the money that we stole from them unconstitutionally and froze, they'll make that money back selling the oil to China, Turkey, India, Pakistan. I could go on and on and on because a lot of you dumbass Americans, y'all don't understand Asia. Y'all don't understand how Europe is. But I can tell you this. When they turned that Nord Stream pipeline off, them Germans felt it. Them Germans knew right away. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe we sided with these dumbass Americans and Biden. And we put sanctions and tried to cancel Russia, and that shit backfired on us. You're going to see this winter, when you're watching those, those commercials where they come on and they show a little starving kid in Europe. Oh, for just 50 cents a day, you can sponsor little Sergey here, and you can get him a warm meal and a warm blanket, and you can get him some coal for his oven. Yeah, well, when you start seeing those commercials, I want you to remember that the sanctions didn't work. But then again, most of you already know that because you've been paying attention to the news. And since the news realized the Russian war was lost, they started covering January 6th every fucking day. So that's aside the point. We could have been friends with Venezuela. We could have had dirt cheap oil. But they were determined to push us to scarcity. That's what Democrats do. They try to make things scarce. They try to put you at each other's throats. One thing I got to give credit to Trump for. Oil policy, energy policy, he was right on point. With these Democrats, the only thing they're worried about is their insider trading with NVIDIA and Taiwan. That's the only thing they're worried about. They're not worried. They're not trying to make things easier. They're trying to make things harder. That's the reality. A lot of y'all don't even get it because y'all are not chess players. A lot of y'all are dumb. And the reality is, these blue states, what these Democrats are doing is they're making things horrible for people in California and New York. People leave these states and then we spread to other states like a virus. Like here in New York, if you can't afford to live here, we push you out, you go down to Atlanta, you go down to Texas, whatever, and then you start voting liberal in those states and you flip their electoral college. Their electoral college, you don't even have to have a constitutional convention. We just send these people to other states like a virus, and then they flip those states. And now, all these places that you never imagined would flip, all of a sudden they start flipping during these elections. It's just sad. It's really, to me, it's hilarious watching it because as a chess player, as a chess master, I see the strategy. Back to the Corvette, because I ranted for about 8 minutes. Back to the Corvette. So, frankly, y'all don't get it. The Mustang Mach-E, regardless how you feel about it, regardless how you think it looks, regardless what you feel about it, the Mustang Mach-E is selling. They've pretty much sold every single unit they have off these lots. In fact, they sold so many of them to the point where Ford literally came out and said, guess what? We're not going to allow you to buy out your lease anymore. And we're going to take that car back if you give it back to us for a used car. We're going to take that car and we're going to resell it and we're going to make even more money off of it as a used car because right now they can give a high interest ninja loan to somebody down the road. So that's how well those things are selling. Here in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, tri-state area, you can't keep an electric car on the lot. If a Tesla Model 3 comes in, that night Tesla Model 3 goes out. If a Tesla Model Y comes in, Tesla Model Y goes out. Genesis GV60 comes in, Genesis GV60 goes out. Volkswagen ID4 comes in, ID4 goes out. Kia EV6 comes in, EV6 goes out. You can't keep these cars on the lot. These cars sell. Now this Corvette, I have to say, based on the design language of the C8, I actually like this car. Now, this is not the car for me because I've already pre-ordered my Cadillac Lyriq all-wheel drive electric car. But I have to say, this car actually looks pretty good. I mean, I think this looks better than the Lamborghini Urus. I don't think this is going to be as big as the Lamborghini Urus, but if they do make this the size of the Lamborghini Urus, I think this was going to sell pretty well because it's not going to be as expensive as a Lamborghini Urus. You know, we have about 5 or 6 Uruses sitting on used car lots right around here. We got some at the Porsche dealer. We have some at the nameless, what is it called, Mitsubishi South Shores dealer. We've got a couple at the Lamborghini Long Island dealer. So the reality is, I mean, when those things come off lease, most people don't want to keep them. They don't want to refinance them and keep them. They paid that lease $2,700 a month, $3,000 a month, and now they just give that stuff back. This Corvette this is a good looking SUV. And I'll tell you another thing, and I know you're not going to like it. I don't really care. I liked the way the Mustang Mach-E looked. I drove the car. I made a video about driving the car. I actually liked the way it looked. There were things about it that I was disappointed with, like it didn't have cooled seats. It only had heated seats. It didn't have autonomous driving. My Cadillac Lyriq is going to have Super Cruise built right into it. So from what I can see, GM, I think they're onto something. And it's obvious to me that I believe her name is Mary Barra. It's obvious to me that she's got a lot of input into this stuff because every single car they're putting out looks like it's designed for a woman, or it looks like it's being designed to sell to a woman. Because to tell you the truth, I really wasn't excited about the C8, and seeing it in person. So it's a cute little car, but to me, it's a woman's car. It's a chick car. I know there's a couple of dudes out there who still have C7s and C6s and C5s, and every now and then you go to the car shows and the guys are showing up with those cars. The C7, it was kind of cool at first, and then I started seeing them too much. But the C8 is cool simply because it's rear engine. But other than that, I mean, to me it's kind of boring. But this, I actually like this. So this is what they're saying. They're saying 2025 they're going to have electric Corvette sedan coming, and then they're having a Corvette SUV. So that means that you have until maybe 2026 or 2027 to get your money right. Because if you're a person who wants a Corvette, but you know that thing is so impractical you won't be able to use it for your family, this is exactly what you should be aiming for. Now, the only downside is, as you know, these SUVs, these little sport SUVs, these things are way too small for children. Car seats, strollers, those things barely fit into these cars. Barely. You can get one in, but for the most part, if you have 2 kids, you're not getting this shit in those cars. It's too small. And I think that's what kills a lot of these sales. Because a lot of the guys go in, they're trying to buy something cool. They're trying to buy a dad car that they could show up to a car meet with. But these women are putting a hole in that fucking plan. They're like, no. You got to get something that you can drive, that I can drive, and that when your baby throws up or pisses and shits in it, it's not a big deal to clean up. Like, when I have kids, I'm getting a Chrysler Pacifica minivan. If that kid pisses all over the car, I could care less. If he takes a shit right on the rug, I could care less. I'll clean it up, but I won't lose my mind over it. Now, as for my Cadillac Lyriq, no, you ain't doing that. It's like, I'm sorry. That kid will be in more plastic than a COVID hamburger before you're not doing that. I'm sorry. I'll buy a used, beat up minivan before I'm gonna let you shit and piss up my car. It's not happening. So what are they saying? They're saying for America, the Dodge Challenger and Charger are likely 2 of the most iconic models expected to become fully electric. And that's another thing. I already did 2 videos about the Tomahawk and the Hurricane. The Hurricane is a 510 horsepower i6. It's an inline 6. I'm used to saying V6 engine. No, it's an i6. 510 horsepower. And they're charging $2,000 more for it if you're getting it in a Grand Wagoneer right now. In the future, chances are the new Challenger and the new Charger that aren't electric are going to offer that as their performance engine because the Hellcats are dead, according to Dodge itself. I know there's some dudes on here, these jokers, they're trying to say it's not dead. Nah, it's dead. between, the fuel situation alone killed it, and then after that comes the emissions demands and the regulations. Hey, this green agenda bullshit has it's pushing us directly in this direction. Everything's going to be electric eventually. It's just coming. They've already put it into law. It's like 2030, the cars have to be electric. 2040, the trucks have to be electric. We're already at 2022. So you got 8 years before they literally are going to make it illegal in the large liberal states to sell gas-powered cars. And by 2040, trucks will follow. So that's just what it is. Now, in a way, I consider it progression because I already know that what's going to end up happening is our we're going to change our outlook on nuclear power. So for people who are buying uranium as a commodity right now, chances are over the next 20 years, uranium is going to be a bigger thing. Now, that's assuming that the solar and all of those minuscule electricity producing alternative energies don't make radical, improvements. But eventually it's going to move to that point. We're going to end up going mostly nuclear. I could see that happening. And the commodity of uranium is going to blow up. Like uranium is definitely going to increase in value. It's already been increasing in value, but I think it's going to increase in value more. So for all of you people, like, yeah, well, where you going to get the electricity from? Don't you know that burning fossil fuels in order to make electricity? Yeah, well, guess what? They're going to make nuclear plants, okay? Big surprise. They're going to have nuclear plants, okay? So, but this is not even the most interesting part of Chevy's electrification strategy. If we are to believe new reports, there are tons of rumors circulating the web, and we are touching on every topic with huge cautiousness. Though Muscle Cars and Trucks reports General Motors is working on an electric performance sedan, which is supposed to receive a Corvette badge. Expected to arrive at Chevy showrooms by the middle of the decade, the zero-emission sedan is expected to be launched as a direct competitor for the Porsche Taycan and elevate the brand into new territories. And that right there, trying to compete with the Porsche Taycan, is one of the reasons why you know that it's very possible that there's definitely probably going to be a Corvette sedan. But I will say this. I'm skeptical. I believe it's possible they may be prototyping a Corvette sedan, but I don't think a Corvette sedan is going to sell. There's way more likelihood that they're going to push a Corvette SUV over a Corvette sedan. Sedans over at GM have not been selling well. SUVs have been selling like hotcakes. When you think about the last couple of sedans GM made, they made a lot of stupid decisions. First of all, they had the Impala. The Impala was a nice car, but it didn't have all-wheel drive. They had the SS. The SS was a rear-wheel drive competitor, basically, at the time, to the Dodge Charger. They brought it over from Australia. It was called the Holden Commodore from Australia. And when they brought it here, they tried to sell it against the Charger. The Dodge Charger 4-door was outselling those Impala SSs. It was basically outselling them like more than 10-1. And then when you add it against the Challenger was selling it more than 20-1. So they basically gave up on the SS. They gave up on the Impala. Had the Impala had rear-wheel drive, it might have done better. Had the Buick LaCrosse had the option for a V8 like the Impala SS, if the Impala had an option for the V8 like the SS did, and it still could offer rear-wheel drive, it might still be around. GM gave up on that shit entirely. All they did was they re-resurrected the Blazer, and then they made that just another Econobox. So if you look at what GM's selling right now, look at you just be on the road. Look at what these women are driving. They're driving the Traverse. They're driving the that GMC, that little GMC, little SUV. I don't even remember the name of the shit because it really doesn't matter. So it's an Econobox. But I think one of the more populars are the XT4 by Cadillac and the XT5, and then there's the XT6. So anybody who's got that kind of money to spend over a Cadillac, they're going after those. Other than that, they're getting these Traverses and those Alcadias. But to me it's all badge engineering to me. Those things are pretty much all Econo boxes. It's the same goddamn thing. It just looks different, cheaper paint, so forth and so on. It's badge engineering. So they got some pictures right here. They're showing what the interior of this thing's supposed to look like. Look, this looks exactly like the Corvette to me. Um, that row of buttons that they have, I kind of don't like that, but I've never really heard people really complain about it. I kind of don't like that. I mean, it's space saving, but I'm not crazy about it. I think most Corvette owners were disappointed that they're not getting that manual in the car. So I think that's what they would have really preferred, but they're just not getting it. Look at this. So this is the front seat. It looks like this is the These are pictures from the Corvette. Yeah, these are pictures from this prototyped Corvette that they got. Yeah, so my thing is, yeah, whatever. As far as these Corvettes go, if they build this SUV Corvette, I know that's going to do way better in sales than this little Corvette, because the problem is this thing is like a toy. And considering how large and heavy the average American man is now, it's like, I know that SUV is going to sell better because most dudes can't fit into this goddamn thing. I sat in it. I was not comfortable with it because you can't lean the seats back. I'm used to being able to recline my seats. But, this is just not the product for me. I don't know. Someday, and I guess it might happen, it might not happen. Someday, one of these goddamn car manufacturers is going to get smart and say, hey, let's take the Maserati GT sized car and let's make a car that's that size so that we can actually fit large people into this sports car and they'll actually want to buy it. Oh, I have a better idea. Let's keep making cars for short dudes. You ever go into these gyms, you see these really short dudes, but they got really big muscles, as if the women are going to date them. These women nowadays come right out and say, listen, if you're under 6 feet tall, I'm sorry, we can't hang out. And the women tell you, it's like, if you're not 6 feet tall, I'm not interested. They tell you right to your damn face. It's like an insult. So my thing is, stop making fucking cars for these little guys. Make cars as if you're trying to sell to, I don't know, NBA players who have millions of dollars, or NFL players who have millions of dollars and want to buy it. There was a story a while back. There was an NFL player buys Corvette and can't fit. And he wasn't even that big of a dude. NFL story once, what is this? Once Corvette Stingray. Yeah, this was it right here. When the C7 came out, this dude right here, Arthur Jones, he bought one of these cars and he had to give the damn thing back because he couldn't fit in it. Now this dude, defensive lineman, let me see, 337 pounds, 6'3". I'm taller than this dude by another 3 inches. Why aren't they making cars that people who have the money will buy? They make these fucking Lamborghini Aventadors, but those cars, nobody is really buying those cars. They're buying that Urus because they can, you know what? It's because they can fit in it. So, all these fucking first of all, these auto enthusiasts, these are some annoying ass dudes because they're always crying that the emissions it's taking away our fun. They're gonna kill off the car community and blah blah fucking blah. And the thing about it is, it's like, listen, first of all, nobody gives a fuck about you or your car at 3 o'clock in the morning when they're trying to sleep and your ass is making a lot of fucking noise out there. It's like I have to hear this shit from these Hondas and these stupid Camrys that should normally be quiet, but they've put these fart can mufflers on these pieces of shit, and I'm trying to sleep at 3 o'clock. These motherfuckers trying to come through the block. But fortunately, see now, you know what New York did? What they did was they started putting up cameras. And the cameras not only catch you if you're speeding, but they also have microphones. And if your engine's too loud or your exhaust is too loud, they give you a ticket in the mail because they see you pass by. they hear your car, and then on top of that, they catch your license plate. It's I don't know why people feel the need to annoy other people because at a certain point, it's not cute no more. It's not cute. Now, I could understand if it was a cool sounding car, but most of these cars sound like shit. And then some of y'all are so dumb, you allowed them to sucker you into deleting your catalytic converter. And now we come to find out that these people, they were getting you to do that because they were taking the metals out of these things and they were getting rich off them. Rhodium, I believe it is. Rhodium is a metal that's rare and it's in the catalytic converter. And they're selling these things to China as if America's a damn colony. They're sending all our metal over to China. And they're convincing your ass, oh, yeah, I gotta get this Hellcat. I gotta cut my catalytic converters off. Why? I don't know, because it makes it sound louder. And the next thing you know, they're shipping all this metal and shit over fucking China. It's absolutely incredible. And then you can't even pass your emissions inspection. So now you end up having to buy some parts back just to be able to put them back on the car to pass the goddamn emissions inspection. Because, these states aren't joking with you. They're not joking. It's like when they say we're tired of these street takeovers and all this stupid shit. The car culture is so toxic at this point, it's like it might as well just die. People will still be able to buy nice cars. People will still have nice cars. You want to know the future of car meetups? Well, when you go to Target or Walmart, and you see a charging station and you see people who are standing around waiting for their cars to charge. Yeah. Well, guess what? That's the future of car meetups. Because the reality is, it's like nobody's got time for this fucking bullshit. Like my thing is, it's like they were stealing these cars, driving them recklessly, getting into accidents, property damaging. So no, it's time. It's over. It's over. So here they got this video right here of the Z06. I'm just gonna flip through it for fair use. So they got this little Z06. So they got a little what is this? The top down on the Z06. Yeah, that's cute and everything. But my thing is, I'd rather have that SUV. If they had that Corvette SUV right now, and it was a nice, decent. Sized interior and everything, it's like I'd rather have that. But this is the future. They're progressing. They're not regressing. So, and by the way, the last thing I guess I'll say about that is, for all of you dudes who think that you're just gonna go and buy a used Hellcat or a used Trackhawk or a used Jeep SRT or a used Dodge Durango Hellcat or something, and you think that that's gonna be a keeper, I got news for you, man. If you go to one of these Mopar events, you go down to Pennsylvania, you go to the Mopar Fest, or even if you go to the GM Fest or you go to the Ford Fest, once you go down there, you realize it's like, wait a minute, all this plastic shit that they're selling us, this stuff ain't never going to be worth nothing. Because there are very few exceptions. The Demon, maybe. Red Eyes, maybe. But the regular run-of-the-mill Hellcat, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I mean, collecting these things, I don't see it. This stuff is not designed to last like the stuff that we had in the 60s and the 70s. That stuff was basically built to last forever. All you had to do was just take care of it. You didn't even have to do heavy maintenance on it. That stuff was really, literally built to last forever. But this stuff that they got now, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. It's plastic. Even this carbon fiber, y'all convinced yourself carbon fiber is the end all. Carbon fiber is basically just more plastic. It's lighter than metal, but for the most part, it's just more plastic. And then under certain temperatures, you get cracking and it starts to peel and shit. And it starts to get brittle. Even though it's strong, it starts to get brittle after a while under certain temperatures and conditions. GM is making waves already with the Cadillac Lyriq. They already know that electrification is the future. They already know that they're going to have to push their entire lineup into electric mode in order to sell these cars, not only here, but abroad, especially in Europe.
After this Russian-Ukraine situation and after Germany and those countries feel the pain this coming winter, you can pretty much bet that everything's going electric. Everything from Mercedes to BMW, we already know these EQ products, the iX, the i4, all of this stuff is going electric. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe by not having to worry so much about the engines and not having to worry about fuel economy, maybe that will actually allow them to spend more time focusing on making a better interior. Maybe that'll focus them on making high quality interiors that are a little bit more engaging. Maybe we'll even get luxury interiors from them. GM came close with the Cadillac CT6. They didn't hit the mark, but they came close. All you can do right now is sit back and watch, but all you need to know is it's coming whether you like it or not.